Hello guys, my name's Claire and this is my story. Unfortunately, my piece is about the obnoxious in-laws and husband that I have. I'm still in the process of getting a divorce, but thought of sharing the story with you. If you are constantly getting berated by your in-laws for no reason, this story will give you some nice ideas. Me and my husband, Zane, met through a dating site. I was in college back then and only 19 years old. Zane was 25 and had a pretty stable job for himself. Despite the age difference, me and Zane fell in love with each other. I'm not someone who judges people for their age or appearance. So Zane's age never became a problem for me. Zane did have a lot of issues with the age difference. He kept saying, "Why are you with me, Claire? I just don't understand. I'm so much older than you. You can do much better and get guys your age, you know." "Yes, I can get boys my age, but I don't want them. You are the one I fell in love with. I don't care if you're older than me." There has to be other reasons, Claire. It's not natural for girls like you to love someone like me. I wish you would tell me the truth. I am telling you the truth, Zane. I don't want to date immature boys my age. I am in love with you and I don't care about anything else. Zane never believed my words. I could detect that he had some self-esteem issues and perhaps that's why he was still single. So I was determined to prove myself wrong and show him just how much I love him. Throughout our entire relationship, I never let Zane spend money on me. I was not a broke college student, but didn't have a lot either. Still, I bought him gifts and paid for my meal every time. I had a small job, so it wasn't like I was penniless. I could tell that Zane appreciated those gestures. Sadly for me, Zane never changed. He continued to have a very low self-esteem and refused to believe that I loved him for real. I tried my best to be supportive and understanding. However, his suspicions of my love always broke my heart. For the first 2 years, I had no idea why he had such a low esteem for himself. But when I met his parents, it became very clear. Zane's dad, Michael, was a hard-working guy. However, he once got lucky and won the lottery. That changed his life forever. He bought an expensive house and moved from the rented apartment they lived in. The rest of the money they put in an account so they can be comfortable for the rest of their life. However, there was one problem. Michael and his wife Molly always thought that they were better than everyone else. On our first meeting, he said, "You know, not everyone can make it big like me. I was a hard-working man and look where it got me. Do you know how uncommon it is to win a huge lottery? The chances are very low, but I did it on the first try." We always knew how to make good decisions. Not everyone has those qualities. Look at Zane. I mean, he did complete college and all, but he will never have money like us. He couldn't even get a girlfriend before we won the lottery. I guess most of his partners did have gold-digging personalities. I'm sure they did. They left as soon as we accused them of being greedy. We were right about them. Somehow, Zane still keeps making the wrong choices. Molly and Michael's attitude towards Zane made my blood boil. They directly insinuated that every girl Zane dated was with him for money. Somehow, after years of hearing this, Zane started to believe it as well. At that point, it was clear to me why Zane was so insecure. The fact that Molly and Michael also hinted at me being a gold digger was humiliating for me as well. I decided that I needed to speak up for him and myself. I said, "I am sorry, but I have to disagree with you on that. Zane had worked hard to establish himself at his job. With time, he will become even more successful." "Well, that doesn't change the fact that women only want him for money. The money we have is ours, but Zane does co-own the house. Ultimately, it will be his when we pass. Let me tell you, Every time they see our $200,000 house, I swear these girls see dollar signs in their eyes. I'm not sure about his exes, but I'm not with him for money. I love your son, and that's why we're dating. I want nothing to do with your house. Don't worry, Claire. Sometimes it's hard to accept that people can be successful and live in nice houses. You only live in a small rented apartment, that too with roommates. After being around our house for a while, you will start wanting it too. It's just about time. I was getting even more furious with what Michael and Molly said. To be honest, I was ready to burst from anger. Zane noticed and heard everything but didn't talk back. He didn't even defend himself. Instead, he simply steered the conversation in another direction. I was a little shocked by his nonchalance, so when we were going home, I decided to confront him. I said, Zane, your parents are very mean people. They keep insulting both you and me. Why didn't you speak up? What did you want me to say, Claire? I'm not sure they are off the mark. Women in the past have used me to try and get some money from my parents. Mostly, they made elaborate plans with the house and how it would be all ours when my parents passed away. Even if they were gold diggers doesn't mean I'm one too. You said nothing when your family insulted me as well. You know that my family is now well off, so there is a possibility that they're right about everything. I'm not saying you had bad intentions for sure, but I can see why it looks weird. You don't even have parents, so you have to rely on my inheritance alone. What you are insisting is bizarre, Zane. I have never made you spend money on me. And even if I don't have an inheritance, that doesn't mean you can call me a gold digger. Zane still refused to acknowledge my words. He kept saying that he loves me and it doesn't matter why I'm with him. While most people would be satisfied with this, I wasn't. I didn't want him to think so badly of me. I tried to talk to him and make him understand. I even suggested therapy because I knew he needed it. However, he said there was nothing wrong with him, so I gave up. However, I distanced myself from his family. Years passed and we got engaged right after I graduated from college. I was working a decent job that didn't pay a lot, but well enough. I started to save so that I could contribute money towards our wedding. We split the wedding costs 50-50 and got married when I was 22. However, the next 3 years of my life were hell. Zane constantly went over to his parents' place and then came home in a sour mood. I knew that Michael and Molly were still making fun of him and calling me a gold digger. I tried to convince Zane to go low contact. I knew they were poisoning him against me. But Zane never listened to me. He kept speaking to them and accepting their words that no one can love him. Even after years of loving him and caring for him, he was suspicious of me. Slowly, I was getting exhausted proving myself to him. But I didn't have to do it for much longer. Things came crashing down on Zane's birthday. Since Zane didn't like huge celebrations, we had a small cake party at home just between us. Then I gave him an expensive watch that he had been wanting for a while. Zane was over the moon with the gift. I was so happy for him. But my excitement died down when he suggested going to his parents' house to show them the gift. I accompanied him because he insisted on it. When he reached their house, Zane immediately went to Molly and Michael to show them the gift. He said, "Mom, Dad, look at this beautiful watch that Claire gave me. I've been wanting this for a while now. Isn't this beautiful?" "Oh, did she know, Zane? Looks like she does love you after all. We were pretty worried for a while there." "Don't get so carried away, Michael. She's a gold digger and married our son because we own a $200,000 house. Let's not forget the facts." "Yes, that's right. I almost forgot that the house is the only reason why Claire married Zane." "Excuse me? Why do you think I married your son for your house?" "Well, you were just living in an apartment after working for 4 years. Besides, Zane is so much older than you. Why would you marry him unless you want something from him? I'm sure our house was always an attraction, if not his money. I married your son because I love him. All your theories about my gold digger personality are bullshit. Zane knows the truth and he will tell you just that, right, Zane? Well, to my utter astonishment, Zane never said a word. I was already starting to feel weirded out by the fact that my in-laws thought I was a gold digger, but Zane's reaction, or lack of reaction, was extremely shocking for me. He kept his head down and refused to look at me. I decided to press him a little. Honestly, I couldn't believe he wasn't protesting for me. I said, Zane, why are you not saying anything? Your parents always thought I was a gold digger. How will they know the real me if you don't tell them? Why are you quiet? Tell them they're wrong. I don't know what you want me to say, Claire. I don't know if my parents are off the mark. There might be a possibility that you are after this house. Are you serious right now? Zane, even you think I married you for your assets? He's not wrong to think like that. It is very suspicious that you never tried to buy a house. You don't even talk to him about buying a house. For someone who rents a place, buying a house should have been your priority. Yeah, it is your priority, but you decided not to work for a house. You saw that our house is an expensive one. You can't afford to buy a place like ours even if you try. So you decided to just marry Zane and settle here. That does make more sense to me. I mean, why will you marry me anyway, Claire? You might have feelings for me, but I think there's more to that than just love. I had no words to say after this. All my love for Zane was devalued into nothing. At the end of the day, my in-laws and even my husband considered me a gold digger. My in-laws' reaction didn't bother me as much as Zane's response. I was devastated. So on the spot, I made a decision. I wanted to file for divorce. I didn't tell them about my decision. I simply waited for the perfect time. So after me and Zane went to our place, I called a lawyer and told him that I wanted to file for divorce. He assured me that the papers would be ready within a week. I also decided to stay in a separate room for the time being. Zane didn't say anything because he thought I was letting off steam. He had no idea what was coming. When the divorce papers finally arrived at my parents' house, I packed my bags and left. When Zane called me in panic, I told him to come to an address and to bring my in-laws. I gave him the address since he had never been to my parents' house. He was confused, but agreed. When they arrived, I was waiting for them on the porch. They looked pretty dumbstruck by the house. I said, "You must be wondering why I brought you here. It's a beautiful house, isn't it?" "Beautiful? No one can even compare their house to this. God, this must cost in millions. This is a mansion." "That's right. It costs around $2 million in today's market. Pretty expensive, but worth the money. There is furniture too, with an added value of millions." "What is this place, Claire? I don't know why you have access to such a house." "Why don't you guys come in so that we can talk? I can't tell you everything on my porch." "What do you mean by your porch?" I ignored them and walked inside. They followed and were even more impressed by what they saw inside. Truly, the owners of the house spared no expense. When they sat down, I said, "I have come to a decision. That's why you're here. I filed for divorce. Here are the papers. We can agree to an uncontested divorce if you want." "What? I don't understand. Why did you file for a divorce?" "Because you and your parents think I'm a gold digger. You guys think I'm after your house, right? I can tell you that's not true, but you won't listen. So I will spare you guys from my gold-digging self and divorce Zane. That will make everyone happy." "You're considering divorce just because my parents told the truth? You're being ridiculous." "Yes, it's not like we said something wrong. Why do you need to do these theatrics?" "I think this is a good thing. Zane, if she's so insistent, you should sign the papers. At least then you'll find someone who loves you. Why did you bring us to this house? Do you want me to buy you this as part of our divorce settlement? Why would I buy this house, Zane? This house is already mine. The shock and disbelief on everyone's face was like a balm to my soul. They looked at me like I was joking. Zane and his family was very unconvinced. He said, "How the hell can you afford a house like this? You stay on rent and don't have a good enough job to afford this. Don't lie to us." I'm not lying, Zane. Remember how I told you that my parents left me some inheritance? Well, this is the house I talked about. It's under a trust now, but I will get the house once I turn 30. I don't work a good job because I have a trust fund waiting for me. That's impossible. Your parents died way back. There's no way they didn't let you get the house sooner. Well, you see, my parents were well aware of the leeches that I might attract, so they told me never to mention the house or trust fund to anyone. Call it experience, but they knew someone could exploit me, so they left everything to trust to keep it safe until I was 30. That way, I would be well settled with someone who I know won't benefit from my inheritance. Oh my God, Claire! You should have told us that you're rich. We had no idea. Damn, this is a big house you have got. We will all live so comfortably here. Yeah, you should have told me that sooner. We thought you were after our house. We could have avoided all the misunderstanding. I knew that Claire was perfect for Zane, see? I have been telling you that she is a great woman. Look how rich she is. Zane really found a great match. Hearing this, I laughed. They changed their stance about me so fast it made my head spin. What's more bizarre was that they soon forgot that I filed for divorce. I took out the divorce papers and gave my signature. Then I said, "As I was saying, here is my signature to an uncontested divorce. You can just sign these to make it easy. If you want to fight, we can take this up to court. I won't live with you anymore." Claire, listen to me. There's no need to rush this. You've already established that you're not a gold digger. Yeah, there's no reason to get a divorce anymore. We'll even apologize for any misunderstanding. That will make it better, won't it? Yes, Michael is right. We are sorry, Claire. We doubted you for no reason. I don't want your fake apologies. Zane, for 2 years you let your family berate me and call me a gold digger. I expected you to at least stand up for me. But no, you just agree with them and call me a gold digger as well. I don't want to stay with someone who doesn't even respect his wife. I'm done with you. We can do this the easy way or get the courts involved. The choice is yours. Zane, Molly, and Michael did their best to change my mind. They kept begging and pleading with me to forget the past. In their mind, what they did was just a simple misunderstanding. Not once did they seem remorseful that they dragged my name through the dirt. Their audacity had my blood boiling. When I finally had enough, I told them to get out before I called the police. My anger scared them off, so they left. In the next few weeks, Zane and my in-laws kept harassing me every day. They begged and pleaded and even offered me bribes to stay. These stupid people thought I would change my mind for money. This notion just showed me that they still thought I was after money. That made me even more enraged. The fun fact is, since Zane co-owned their house with the in-laws, I was also entitled to half of his share. That made them so desperate for reconciliation. I was firm in my decision to split. I moved all my things into my parents' house to live there. I would be alone, and even though I didn't have the ownership yet, I knew that I could stay there anyway. Zane and the in-laws kept reaching out to me until I got a new number entirely. I didn't want them spamming me from unknown numbers. Zane did come to my work to talk, however. The security who was informed about the situation asked him to leave. Zane still hasn't signed the papers, hoping to change my mind. It's been almost a year since I filed for divorce. I only have to go through another year or less before the courts deem it appropriate for us to get divorced. It will happen even if Zane doesn't want to stay. So far, I'm doing pretty well for myself. Since being alone, I've become quite happy and have more money to spend on myself. I'm going out on dates, but not considering anything serious. I heard from a cousin of Zane's that he and my in-laws are dreading buying me out of my entitled share of the house. Apparently, the lawyer fees were adding up and they didn't have much in savings. The cousin believes that they would have to sell the house to bring the money. Zane is also pushing for a sale because he is mad at his parents for ruining his life. I simply don't care anymore and just want to be free from that family. Hey there, I'm Rob and I'm 45 years old. Recently, I got caught up in some drama with my ex-wife and how she has been treating our daughter, and honestly, I had no clue about it. Let me rewind all the way back to how it all began about 20 years ago. Time sure flies. Looking back, it all started around 20 years ago when Marianne and I first met at a bar. I had just achieved my airline transport pilot license and I was celebrating. The moment I laid eyes on Marianne, I was already in love. It was like magic, and I thought she was the one from the get-go. We hit it off instantly, started dating, met each other's families, and everything just fell into place. 2 years later, I was 27, she was 25, when we said, I do. The proposal was for books. It was very private, but it meant a lot to us. I whisked her away on a sweet picnic, and as the day turned to night, we were stargazing with a bottle of wine. That's when I popped the big question, and she said yes. Not long after our marriage, Marianne became pregnant with our first child, Joe, just a month into our marriage. That's when I was already up in the skies as a pilot. I admit I've been an absent dad for a big part of my life. Marianne took on the role of a stay-at-home mom while I was flying all over the place, doing my pilot thing. Before we got married, flying was something Marianne and I enjoyed together. However, as our family grew, circumstances changed and my absence became more pronounced. My flying schedule limited the time we could spend together, and I regret not being more present during those crucial moments of Joe's upbringing. Back when I had more time before taking on a full-time job, Marianne and I were inseparable. We would go flying together once in a while, cherishing those thrilling moments in the sky, and we had a blast doing other couple stuff as well. But when the job and our son Joe came into the picture, things got a bit tricky. My pilot gig had me away from home way too much, and I knew it was tough on Marianne. Still, whenever I managed to be home, we made it count, man. We'd plan romantic dates, call up a babysitter, and just have a great time together. But looking back, I do regret not being there as much for Joe. Those classic father-son moments, like teaching him to ride a bike or shoot hoops, just slipped through our fingers. Joe was into football, and even attending his football games became a rarity due to my busy work schedule. It seriously bummed him out because football meant a lot to him. But then the heavens smiled upon us and little Dorothea, or Dottie, entered our lives. However, during that time, I could see that Marianne wasn't doing so well emotionally, and I totally understood why. I mean, she was practically a one-woman show raising the kids while I was out flying all over the place. While she was just a tiny tot, I lucked out and managed to switch to part-time work, which gave me more time to spend with Marianne and the kids. Marianne and I patched things up, and it felt like we were reliving our wild 20s all over again. It was a frickin' happy time. During those part-time work years, I soaked up every moment with Dottie, and it was awesome. But I couldn't help but notice that Joe had grown distant from me. I chalked it up to the typical teenage hormones and didn't dwell on it too much. Then came the time when I needed to go back to full-time work, mainly because I was the sole earner in the family. With the kids getting older, I wanted to support them, especially Joe, who would be heading to college soon. I felt a strong urge to compensate for the times I couldn't be there for him, and one way I thought of doing that was by helping out with his college tuition. Little did I know that this time, when I left for work, things wouldn't be the same when I got back home. I had just gotten home from a long flight, taken a refreshing shower, and had dinner with the kids. Then Marianne and I headed upstairs after wishing the little ones good night, and that's when she dropped a bombshell on me. I want a divorce. Whoa! That came out of nowhere. Really, Rob? It's been 17 years. I do not even recognize you anymore. I don't know the book on your nightstand. It used to be our thing, right? We hardly talk. The person I knew seems to have vanished. Every time you come home, I welcome you with open arms, but all you do is talk about your flights. I listen and then I tell you about the kids. It's like we've lost the us in all of this. I feel like I'm just a bored housewife now. If it's all in my head, tell me now. Tell me if I'm wrong. No, you're not wrong. I've let things slip, and I'm sorry for not being the person I promised to be. It's not your fault, but I can't keep holding back anymore. I haven't found someone new, but I won't lie. I thought about it. I've been trying to keep things together for the sake of the kids, but I can't do it anymore. I understand. I'm sorry, Marianne. If you want the divorce to happen, I won't stand in your way. After the separation, Marianne and I agreed that joint custody would be best for the kids, and it made sense for them to live with her since she knew them better. I was like a stranger in their lives. Surprisingly, the divorce didn't hit me as hard as I thought. Don't get me wrong, I was devastated, but I guess being away all the time had already killed the love between us. I still had respect for Marianne, though. After all, she's the mother of my kids, and I miss those little munchkins like crazy. Marianne and I completely lost touch after the divorce. Our only communication was about child support. I relied on the kids to fill me in on how things are going with her and how they were managing at their grandparents' place. I felt bad for them, honestly. I even offered to help Marianne find a place to rent, but she turned it down. Eventually, during one of their visits, the kids dropped the bombshell that they had moved in with Marianne's new boyfriend, Matthew. I guess it was bound to happen sooner or later, but I just hoped the guy treated Marianne and the kids well. I wanted to talk to her about it, but she wouldn't respond when I brought it up. The weird thing was the kids became really quiet ever since they moved in with him. It was kind of off-putting, but I didn't think much of it until Joe left for college. I helped him out with college tuition, and he was grateful for that. With Joe gone, I had to pick up Dottie from Marianne's new place, or rather her new boyfriend Matthew's place, and let me tell you, that dude gave me a sketchy vibe. First time I saw where they lived, I was like, whoa. No judgment or anything, but it wasn't the best place, and I couldn't believe Marianne went for a guy like that. When I went to pick up Dottie, Marianne opened the door. Seeing her after so long was like a blast from the past. She looked different, all troubled and stuff. She was wearing a robe, looking pale and skinny, and, no offense, kind of old. Something seemed off. Hey, how's it going? I'm okay. Yeah, cool. So this is Matthew's place? Yep. I've been seeing him for a while now. Dorothea, can you hurry up and leave already? That is when I heard Matthew calling out for Dottie, and it felt like he was screaming at her. I did not like the dude for talking to my daughter like that. It just did not sit right with me, and with all of Marianne's short replies, something definitely seemed off. She had never been this quiet in her life. It was like she had lost her spark. She looked tired even more when she was with me. It made me wonder what was going on in her life and if everything was okay. I took Dottie with me and we had an awesome evening. We watched her favorite movie, The Princess Diaries, for like the 10th time while munching on Takis, but hey, I was not complaining. I was just so happy to be spending time with my daughter. For dinner, we ordered pizza and then we indulged in Ben & Jerry's cookie dough ice cream for dessert. During our little dinner chat, I tried to get to know more about this Matthew character. So, does Matthew treat your mother right? Yeah. Well, is he nice to you? Yeah. That's good, kiddo. You know, you can always tell me if you have any problems. Your daddy's always here to protect you no matter what. Okay, Dad. Then I asked her about school. How's school going? I don't want to lie to you, and I need to come clean about something. I don't go to school anymore. Mom told me to keep it a secret from you. She pulled me out of school and said I could continue next year. Dad, please don't tell Mom that I told you. You don't understand. It would just get me into bigger trouble. Are you in trouble, sweetheart? Is everything okay? Yeah, I mean, everything's fine, but please just don't tell Mom. Dottie, I really need to understand why your mom would keep this from me. Not going to school and taking a gap year is a big deal. I'm really worried about you and I want to make sure everything's okay. I know, Dad, but Mom said she's handling everything and she didn't want you to get involved. I was taken aback by the whole situation. I could not wrap my head around what was happening with Marianne. Even though I promised Dottie not to say anything, I needed to understand why she wasn't sending her to school. Dottie was on the verge of starting middle school, and missing out on those crucial years felt really concerning to me. I mean, I'm providing financial support, so what could be the reason holding Marianne back? Initially, I thought about asking Joe for some insights, but I didn't want to burden him with our family issues. He has his own life now, and I didn't want to disturb that. With a couple of flights lined up for the week, I decided to wait until I got back to talk to Marianne about it. I asked Dottie to go to bed early and dropped her off at Matthew's place the next day before heading to the airport. A few days later, I finally landed my flight for the week and had the weekend off. It had been ages since I had a weekend to myself, and I was stoked about it. When I got home, my phone started ringing, and guess who it was? Marianne. But when I picked up, it was Dottie on the line. Hey, Dad. Hey, baby girl, what's up? Is everything fine? Why are you calling from your mom's phone? Yeah, Dad, please send $3,000 for new school books. Wait a minute, didn't we talk about school yesterday? You told me Mom pulled you out of school. Marianne took over the phone. Dorothea needs money for some new books. It's $3,000. I knew Marianne wasn't sending Dottie to school. Feeling exhausted and frustrated, the fact that Marianne would hide something like this from me and then lie to my face made me snap. I couldn't hold back my anger any longer. What's the money really for, Marianne? I've been sending you child support all this time, and now I find out Dottie isn't even going to school? What's happening here? Where is all the money going? Oh my God, I'm just going to talk to you later. And then she just hung up the phone on me. I kept calling, but no one answered. It was way too late at night, and I was dead tired. I still had to pick up Dottie for the weekend, though, so I decided to tackle the conversation the next day. I couldn't help but feel mad and suspicious, though. What on earth was Marianne hiding from me? I only wanted what was best for my daughter's education, and it was bugging me big time. Wondering where all the money I had been sending her had gone. It was around 1 in the morning when the phone started ringing. I picked it up, and to my surprise, it was Dottie. She was crying, and I immediately got worried. What had happened to make her so upset? Dad, can you come pick me up, please? Are you okay? What is going on? Where's your mom? Where's Matthew? Mom doesn't know I'm talking to you. She's probably sleeping in her bedroom with Matthew right now. Just be here and call me when you're outside. Don't worry, I'm coming. I could sense the fear and distress in Dottie's voice, and my heart sank. I told her to stay put, and I dashed out to pick her up, my mind racing with all sorts of worries about what was happening. I drove like a maniac to their place, not wasting any time. I called Dottie, and she tiptoed out the door like a ninja. This meant that Marianne had no idea that I was here. I gave Dottie a big hug as soon as she got into my car, and we didn't talk at all during the drive back home. Once we got home, I got her settled on the couch and told her to make herself comfortable. I grabbed her a glass of water, trying to ease the nerves and worry that she must have been feeling. "Sweetie, you've got to be honest with me if you want me to help you out here." "Okay, Dad." "When Mom and Matthew found out that I told you about them pulling me out of school, they went ballistic. Mom started chucking stuff at me." "What? She threw things at you?" "Yeah, it was like a crazy storm in there. And Matthew was yelling at me, saying all these awful things, like I'm worthless and should just disappear." "What? Your mom has completely lost it." "Mom said we're having some money problems and things are going downhill fast at home." "What do you mean, sweetheart?" "We've been scraping by, Dad. It's been rough. We're having cereal for dinner." "How long has this been going on for?" "Joe never mentioned any of this to me." "Since Joe left for college." I couldn't believe what my daughter was telling me at first. It was just so hard to wrap my head around the idea that Marianne, I knew, who had always been a good mom, could do something like this. Joe never complained about her, and yeah, she could be strict, but never abusive. But here's Dottie claiming that Marianne slapped her and threw stuff at her, while that dude, Matthew, was spewing nasty, hurtful words at her like she was some piece of trash. My blood was boiling with anger and worry for my little girl. After putting Dottie to bed, I poured myself a drink and sat down feeling terrible. It hit me hard, thinking it was all my fault. If only I had been there for my wife and kids right from the start, maybe things wouldn't have turned out like this. Marianne had apparently gone off the rails, and now my kids were suffering because of it. It broke my heart to think they might carry trauma from all this. Hearing what Dottie went through that day made me wonder what else Joe had kept hidden from me. I had so many questions swirling in my head. Why was Marianne acting like this? What caused her to change into someone unrecognizable? Had my absence turned Marianne into a monster? The next day, I asked Dorothea to stay home and headed over to Marianne and Matthew's place. I was so furious that I feared I might actually punch that guy for what he said to my daughter. I knocked on their door, and Matthew answered. "We were expecting you. Where did you take Dorothea?" "She's my daughter, and it's none of your business where she is. Where's Marianne?" I stepped inside the house. Marianne was there, sitting on the couch, sobbing uncontrollably. I was so puzzled, I just needed the truth at this point. "Oh my God, just start talking, Marianne. Why have you been behaving this way? You laid a hand on our daughter. Where has all the money been going? And you, Matthew? I've heard stuff about you too. How dare you?" Marianne had known me for a long time, and she knew I didn't lose my temper easily, but when I did, it wasn't any good for anyone. "Rob, I'm so sorry. I messed up big time. You see, Matthew's in serious debt and he owes a lot of money to someone. Initially, we used to take a chunk out of the child support checks you sent to pay off the debt collectors. But recently, they've been breathing down our necks, demanding the full amount, so we had no choice but to send it all to them. And I love Matthew. I was just trying to protect him. That's why I made Dottie take a gap year." "You didn't care about our daughter, did you? All you cared about was protecting Matthew, someone who clearly doesn't deserve any of it. You put him above your own child, and for what? Do you realize what you've done?" "I'm sorry." "You know, Matthew, I've tried to give you the benefit of the doubt, but I can't ignore the truth any longer. You're nothing but a loser. You're a grown man living off my child support money, and for what? What do you even do all day?" "I'm working on some things, all right?" "Working on what? Scamming people and leeching off my ex-wife? Is that your grand plan?" "Look, it's not as simple as you think." "It's pretty simple, actually. You're a deadbeat, living off someone else's hard work. You can't even provide for yourself, let alone Marianne. And Marianne, you will be hearing from my lawyer soon." When I got back home, I knew I had to dig deep and find out if Joe was holding anything back. I hadn't been the perfect dad, but now it was my chance to step up and be there for them. I could tell my kids felt let down by their mom's actions, so I had a heart-to-heart with Joe. Marianne had been nagging him verbally, but at least he didn't face any physical abuse. That gave me more reason to take action and protect my kids. I consulted my lawyer, and together we took the matter to the authorities, shedding light on the abuse and neglect my children had endured. And guess what? I finally won the legal battle and got full custody of my kids. Marianne tried to beg her way out of it, but the court wasn't buying it. She lost custody and visitation rights. As for Matthew, my gut feeling about him was right. It turned out he had a criminal record for breaking and entering, leading to his imprisonment for a year. I've retired from flying and moved into a role in management and mentorship, all with the sole purpose of being there for my daughter and son this time. I want to make up for lost time and create a loving and supportive environment for them. My kids are my priority, and I'll do whatever it takes to give them a safe and loving home. I want them to know that they can count on their dad, and I'll never let them down again. We got a long road to heal, but I'm going to be the best dad I can be. Hello, my name's Bianca, mother of 2 children and an ardent social worker. I currently live with my mother in Ohio. I run a small organization that provides to terminally ill children, whether it's taking them to an amusement park or a museum. I try to make their days a little less scary. My mother takes care of my children. They're going to a new school. I know these new adjustments bring a lot of new changes, but we are managing quite well. My life wasn't entirely like this. I was terribly heartbroken, and the healing took its time. It took me years to come out of the fact that I was betrayed multiple times by the same person. I met my ex-husband, Victor, when I was on a girls' trip to Rome, Italy. We were clubbing late at night when this random man approached me. Bella Serrata, isn't it? See, it's a beautiful night. Do you come here often? No, actually, it's my first time in Italy. I wanted to experience the nightlife, and I must say, it doesn't disappoint. Well, you've chosen the right place. Roma is known for its vibrant energy. So what brings you here, business or pleasure? Well, I would say a mix of curiosity and wanderlust, I suppose. I've always been fascinated by Italian culture and history. And what about you, Bianca? Are you a regular in this scene? I enjoy going out occasionally. It's a great way to unwind after a long day. But tonight, I'm celebrating a friend's birthday. How about you? Are you here alone? Yes, solo traveler exploring the world. I find it liberating to discover new places on my own terms. Well, you seem to be doing just fine. Rome has a way of capturing hearts, whether you're alone or with company. So it seems. But I have to admit, meeting someone as lovely as you adds an extra touch of magic to the experience. You're quite the charmer, Victor. I appreciate the compliment. So tell me, what else have you discovered during your time in Rome? Oh, where do I start? The Colosseum, Vatican City, the Sistine Chapel. I've been soaking in history, the art, and the cuisine. Every corner of this city has a story to tell. You're absolutely right. It's a city filled with treasures and tales. If you have time, I'd be more than happy to show you some hidden gems that tourists often miss. I'd be honored, Bianca. Exploring Rome with a local would be a dream come true. We clink glasses together, sealing our new connection amidst the vibrant ambience of the club. He then proposed a friendly dance. The music was wild and I was young and flattered, so I agreed to his proposal. We danced away like crazy as if we didn't care less about the world. We were a couple of drinks down. He was really attractive back then, and attractive people can bring a lot of baggage. As the vibrant music filled the air and the club in Italy pulsed with energy and life, It was a night like any other, and I found myself dancing and enjoying the moment, surrounded by the rhythm and excitement that coursed through the crowd. Little did I know that this evening would be the beginning of a captivating and unexpected journey. It was as if the world around us faded into the background, leaving only the two of us in that electrifying moment. We moved together in perfect harmony, our bodies swaying to the rhythm of the music. The chemistry between us was palpable, growing with each twirl and dip on the dance floor. It felt as though time stood still, and in that enchanted bubble, we were the only ones that mattered. But just as our connection intensified, a woman appeared out of nowhere, clinging to Victor. Panic flashed across his face, and he glanced at me with a mix of confusion and worry. In that split second, I saw the uncertainty in his eyes, and my heart skipped a beat. Who is she? Who are you? Oh, please, ladies, relax. Let me introduce you to. This is my friend, Bianca. Bianca, meet Louise. She's my tour guide. She's been taking care of me. Thank you, Victor. That was really kind of you. But, baby, we must head back. You know we have to get up early morning. Baby? Victor, just give us a moment, Bianca. We have to talk about tomorrow's schedule. I still have a few days left to be here, so I planned an elaborate tour guide just for myself. I'll come back to you. Stay still. Don't you dare go anywhere. He held me by the waist and planted a kiss on my cheek. As I watched their interaction unfold, I felt a wave of emotions crash over me. Doubt and insecurity threatened to overshadow the joy and attraction I had felt just moments ago. Who was this woman? And what did her sudden appearance mean for the budding connection between Victor and me? I mean, I get it, she was the tour guide, but which tour guide calls you baby? I was really done with this shit. I looked for my friends who were hanging by the pool. They were all really buzzed except Emily. She was always the sober one in the group. She got up and approached me. I dropped myself on the comfy beanbag that was placed next to the pool. So, how was it? Well, let's just say it was an interesting experience. Victor turned out to be quite the Casanova. What? No way. He seemed like such a genuine guy when he approached you at the club. What happened? At first, everything was perfect. He was charming, attentive, and full of stories about his travels. Then, we went for a bit of dancing. It was going so well, you won't believe how I was swooning at his moves and so on. But then a girl comes out of nowhere and clings to his shirt, calling him baby and stuff like that. Ouch! The worst kind then. He didn't look like he was fazed at all by it. He excused himself and started chatting with her instead. I stood there for 7 minutes, then it started to feel embarrassing, so I left. Oh no, Bianca, I'm so sorry. That must have been disappointing and hurtful. Did you not feel like confronting him? I did, but I couldn't muster the courage to do so. He was attractive. I was just another pawn in his game, LOL. And here I thought chivalry still exists. My friends and I decided to leave the club. It was getting late and there was no point dilly-dallying any longer. Half of them were sloshed already. I called for a cab while Emily and one of the waitresses took hold of my drunk friends. Wow, quite a sight that was. We reached our hotel, and after putting all my friends in our respective rooms, Emily and I decided to take another martini before going to bed. The reception was busy, so I had to go fetch the drinks. We also had some pizza ordered along with some Italian cioccola. I was almost forgetting about the guy I encountered at the party until I reached into my pockets. I found a note. It was written, "If whatever magic we had back there was true, then meet me tomorrow afternoon in front of the statue that depicts the birth of Rome." Oh my God. Emily, look. When did he slide this in? Gosh, that creep. How clique. Such a stereotypical Casanova move. Charming young man planting a lover's note in the naive girl's pocket. Jeez, I'm too drunk for this shit. Oh, hush, Emily. You're ruining its charm. I bet he did that when he planted that kiss on my cheek. That was kind of smooth. Not gonna lie. Please tell me you're not considering actually meeting him, are you? I mean, I don't mind giving him a second chance. These second chances are the worst. I never really trusted them. There was this guy back in Florida I used to really like, but he turned out to be a total douchebag as well. But my heart was a mess. I wanted him so bad, I gave him a second chance. Guess what, Bianca? It got messier. Jeez, girl, relax. I promised that this would be a harmless second chance. Now help me break the riddle. I was supposed to meet him in front of the Capitoline Wolf, one of the greatest symbols of Rome. From the moment our eyes met in the bustling streets of Rome, Victor and I embarked on a journey that would forever change our lives. The magic of the city infused our hearts, and love bloomed amidst the cobblestone streets and ancient ruins. As our relationship deepened, we discovered a profound connection that went beyond mere attraction. We shared dreams, hopes, and ambitions, supporting each other through the triumphs and trials of life. With time, our love grew stronger, and we knew we were meant to build a future together. We celebrated each other's successes and lifted each other up. Vicky was my biggest cheerleader, always pushing me to chase my dreams and encouraging me to believe in my own strength. Likewise, I stood by Vicky's side, supporting his endeavors and providing a safe harbor when life's storms raged around us. Together we explored the world with wide-eyed wonder. We embarked on countless adventures, embracing the joy of discovering new places and cultures. Whether we were strolling through ancient streets, gazing at breathtaking landscapes, or simply enjoying the simple moments of togetherness, every experience was enriched by our love for one another. I was head over heels for Victor. He was my type of guy. My type of red flag, that is. Baby, I was looking through some venues. You want to check it with me? Just a second. The noodles are on the stove. I was living with Victor at the time. He had a cozy house back in Michigan. He was the one who invited me to stay with him. Ran a small business, something to do with travel and tourism. He would leave around 11 a.m. and return by 7. I used to work from home, mostly in customer service. My shift was almost the same as his. After work, we would either go for a drive or a small walk. So, where have you decided? Noticed anything you like? I was thinking, how about the same place where we met, in Rome? What? Are you serious? Wouldn't that be too expensive? I mean, the venue, the decorations, invitations, food. Nah, don't worry about it, love. I spoke to one of my rich clients from Italy. He said he would do all the arrangements at a lot less price. Interesting acquaintances. How do you even manage to make such alliances? I should totally learn from you. That's my secret. But you are a special one, so I don't mind. Want to know? Absolutely. Tell me. Well, I use a lot of what? My sexy charm. Screw you, so full of yourself. In the picturesque setting of Rome, surrounded by loved ones, we exchanged vows and committed our lives to one another. The joy and excitement on that day were immeasurable as we embarked on the adventure of marriage hand in hand. We were ready to face the world as a team, navigating the highs and lows with unwavering support. But like many others, I too realized some men change a lot after marriage. Maybe the spark of romanticism fades and we fall into a cycle of monotony and ambiguity. A few years, things were going all right. We had our regular work and free time. Victor grew busier. He would take me to parties and clubbing, but sometimes he would go alone with his friends. After I got pregnant with our first child, things started to change for the worse. Victor would be a bit neglectful towards me. I mean, sometimes he would be the sweetest person and I would melt. He probably started to think I got bored or something because I don't go out with him to fancy parties and crowded pubs anymore. Babe, is something the matter? I feel like you're really upset about something and not telling me. Why do you ask? It's the vibe I'm catching. You usually aren't this quiet. I mean, you are the definition of an extrovert. Right. Please, babe, tell me. You will feel a whole lot lighter, and you only said that communication should be our greatest mantra. Yeah, I know. I do want to know one thing. You are still you, right? What do you mean, I'm still me? I don't understand. What did I do to turn you off? I think the baby thingy could have waited. Maybe if we would have given us a bit more time. What the hell do you mean by that? It's been 2 years. I know, but I miss the old us. We used to hang out and go on small travels and adventurous dates. Remember our trip to Africa, babe? The wildest of experiences. Ah, how I long to go back amongst the serene wildlife and sweet forest liqueur. Then why don't you? What? Is a pregnant wife making her husband feel trapped? Oh, babe, why are you making it sound like that? Did I say that? You just twisted my entire explanation. Jesus. I was just saying that we could have waited a little more before getting into parenthood. So, is it my fault, babe? You wanted a baby, remember? We were on a date when you pointed at a child saying you wanted one of those. Then I laughed, and you got all pouty because I wasn't taking you seriously. His phone rang. He excused himself, saying it was his mother, and went to the other room. I sat there in silence. What just happened? Did we just fight? This was our very first argument. In the following years, we became parents of 2 beautiful girls. Victor loved spending time with them, taking them for a drive, sometimes to parties. When I strongly objected, he would get angry. He also didn't like too much crying and whining. He would always excuse himself if his daughters were having a tantrum. He just wanted the cream of the hard work, not the hard work itself. I shifted my job from home to an office space. I was getting paid more. Victor would often leave for business trips. He started to dress more handsomely, which was nothing to be concerned about, but I couldn't help but feel insecure. How are the kids, Bob? They're fine, Mom. Growing up really fast. Georgie throws a lot less tantrums these days. Oh, my lovelies, when will you all visit me again? It's been over a year now. How is that wretched son-in-law of mine? You are not wrong about that. Well, he's on a business trip to Goa. Where is that? Sounds like something Caribbean. Nope, it's a part of India. Oh, damn, I always wanted to visit that place with your dad. If only he didn't reach his expiration date. Jeez, Mom, your jokes are becoming horribly dark these days. Oh, you know how I find refuge in dark humor. You get to laugh more than you get to cry. You should slowly resort to that too. As the days passed by, I couldn't help but notice a change in Victor, my so-called loving husband. His once warm and trusting demeanor had given way to suspicion and unease. It was as if a shadow had cast itself over our relationship, leaving me bewildered and longing to understand the source of his growing distrust. At first, I dismissed it as mere stress from work or external factors taking a toll on his emotions. But as the subtle signs persisted, I realized that there was something deeper at play. The lingering glances, the guarded conversations, and the moments of distance between us became increasingly difficult to ignore. One evening, as we sat together in the quiet sanctuary of our home, I mustered the courage to address the elephant in the room. With a gentle touch, I took his hand in mine, my eyes searching his for answers. I have been noticing a lot of things lately. I just wanted to clarify if it is something I should be concerned about. What is it now? The frequent calls, Victor. Who is it? There was a mixture of vulnerability and concern in his gaze, a flicker of fear betraying the walls he had built around himself. Look, babe, I care about you and trust you. Just assure me that it's nothing concerning. Care about me? You call that caring? It feels more like you're prying into my personal life. I'm sorry if it came across that way, Victor. I didn't mean to invade your privacy, but when I saw you keeping everything to yourself, I couldn't just stand by and do nothing. Well, sometimes I need to handle things on my own. I don't always need you jumping in trying to fix everything. Years went by, and our relationship was concretely built on a cloud of secrecy. Victor refused to talk to me. He even grew distant from our children. I became very aloof and introverted. His extroversion increased. He would go to parties and sometimes not come back. His phone calls were even more frequent and sometimes argumentative. It was until the day it revealed itself. Victor's face was filled with panic, his eyes darting around the room. He pleaded with me to pack our things and run away with the children, claiming that his mother was coming home to exact an old revenge. But at that moment, something within me shifted. I knew who it was, and for some reason I was waiting for this to happen. Emily informed me long back. You know, it really saddens me that I had to be the one to give my best friend the news. It is about Victor, isn't it? What has he been doing? Well, she revealed that Victor has been taking drugs, partying and sleeping with other women. One of them was incredibly in love with him. She got pregnant and Victor left her right after that. She was in a total mess. Her name is Leslie. She was Victor's favorite mistress. He would often go to a love hotel where they both would sleep multiple times. Emily found her at a club, crying profusely. She was 2 drinks down. Emily just wanted to small talk. Little did she know it would end up in this drama. We decided to invite her to the charade. After all, that sneaky bastard needed a lesson. With a mixture of determination and pain, I looked into Victor's eyes, and in a voice filled with both defiance and sorrow, I responded, "She's already here, Victor, and it's not your mother who should be running away now." What? What do you mean? It is Leslie, isn't it? Wait, how do you... Because your boring wife can be extremely intelligent sometimes. She has her ways. Babe, look, I can explain. Oh, you don't have to. I slapped him hard across his face. I went ahead and grappled him by his neck and threw him off. I was so tempted to hurt him more the way he hurt me, but I controlled myself. Leslie entered the room with her friend. They packed on a couple of blows at him. It was so satisfying to watch. The famous warning, "Once a Casanova, always a Casanova," earned its rightful position in my heart. I joyously trashed his entire house, breaking all his valuables, turned it into a freaking rage room. I swear. He just wanted me as his trophy wife, someone he could show off to his friends. Once I became boring, he lost his interest. He did that with other girls too. Leslie and I knew what to do. He would be paying for both of our child support. We planned to make him penniless. We were in the process. It would take some time, but I wasn't going to leave him for what he had done. My children shifted to their grandmas. I decided to stay back so that I could complete the legal work before finally settling with my mother and kids. We would connect to 2 other girls who equally hated him. He was nothing but a puny little mouse in our trap. After a few months of going to and fro to court, it was finally settled. Today, I stand tall and proud. The pain and heartbreak of that fateful revelation have shaped me into a woman of resilience and unwavering strength. I have emerged from the ashes a survivor of betrayal, ready to embrace life's challenges and bask in the love and happiness I truly deserve. In the end, I found solace in knowing that the one who should have been running away was never me. It was the darkness of deceit and betrayal that Victor and his mistress had chosen to embrace. And with every step forward, I reclaimed my own power, determined to forge a future built on my terms, with an unwavering commitment to my own happiness and well-being. Hi, I'm Ava. A few years ago, I was an ordinary housewife searching for fulfillment from the monotony of my daily routine. Yet deep inside my heart, there burned the desire to open a bakery. This dream consumed my every thought, adding a sense of purpose to my life that drove me forward, so I decided to talk to my husband about it. Robert, I was thinking about starting a baking business. A bakery? Are you serious? You do not have any experience or skills for that. It's just a silly fantasy. But I have a passion for baking and I want to earn and support you. What is the point, Ava? You're just wasting your time with these silly dreams of yours. I know it may seem like a long shot, and I believe in myself. I want to create something special, something that brings joy to others. Joy? Don't you see the reality? We have bills to pay and responsibilities to fulfill. Your little bakery will not bring in any money. It's a waste of time and resources. I want to believe in myself and what I can accomplish. I don't want to live a life full of regrets wondering what could have been. Fine, Ava. Do whatever you want. But don't come crying to me when it all falls apart. I will not support this foolishness. I didn't get demotivated by Robert's words. I saved up some money and started baking for friends. Robert, guess what? I saved up some money and started a home baking business. Oh, a home baking business? I told you it's a waste of time. Well, I know it is challenging, but I am trying my best. Trying your best, Ava? Let us be realistic. There is no way you can compete with established brands and shops. It is just a hobby, not a real business. It is more than just a hobby to me, Robert. I am motivated to make it work. Motivated? Ava, you need to face reality. Your small business is going nowhere. You are just wasting your time and energy. Your business schedule is affecting our relationship. You are always so caught up in your baking that you do not have time for anything else. I'm sorry if it feels that way, but I am doing my best to balance everything. This business means a lot to me, and I hope you can understand and support me instead of criticizing me. It is just frustrating to see you so consumed by something that does not seem to be going anywhere. Honestly, my business was going nowhere, but I believed in the potential inside me and continued to work hard. Even the friends who tasted my food said it was delicious. I just need some marketing. I remained positive. Maybe Robert's criticism would turn into respect once I start making a profit. But unfortunately, something terrible happened to me. On that day, Robert did not come back home. I tried calling him, but he did not answer. I thought he might be busy with work at the office. The next day, he called me. Ava, start packing your bags. Hey, bags? Are you going somewhere? Not both of us, just you. Me? Where? Out of my house. I don't understand. What is this silly joke? Come home and we can talk. It is not a joke. I'm going to marry Mia and I want her to live here. So before she comes, I want you to leave the house. I couldn't process the news. I stood there frozen. Eventually, I regained my senses and gathered the strength to speak. What? But before I could finish asking my question, he had already hung up the phone. I felt confused and sad. I fell on the floor, feeling very overwhelmed by everything that was happening. While I was lost in my thoughts, I suddenly woke up when I heard the doorbell ringing. I quickly went to the door, eager to find out who it was. When I opened it, I saw my little sister, Mia, and my husband, Robert. It was a surprise because Mia and I hadn't been in touch, and I never expected her to betray me like this. There they stood, with Mia dressed in white and holding hands with my husband. Have you not left yet? Why would you do this to me? If there was a problem, you should have talked to me. Why did you betray me like this, Robert? What did I lack that you had to turn to another woman? You have nothing. You are just a housewife who does not even know how to make me happy. Look at Mia. So beautiful and perfect. She makes me happy. You're always busy with household chores or your silly bakery. Busy? Who do I do everything for? You and our home, right? Well, that doesn't matter now. We're married and it is time for you to leave my house. Either you go on your own or I will push you out. Mia smirked and I became furious. What is so funny? You're my little sister. Why would you do this to me? Your sister? Oh, please. I have a higher class, unlike you. My new husband is wealthy and I can keep him happy. So you should leave our house. We have to host a wedding party this evening, so you better go. For the past 2 years, I had been trying so hard to make my marriage work and to please Robert. But nothing worked and I felt angry at myself. Mia made me feel like I was not enough. There was nothing left for me in that house. Yes, legally it was in Robert's name, but I had put so much effort into making every corner of that home perfect. And within a few minutes, everything shattered before my eyes. Blaming my destiny, I walked out of that place. Suddenly, while I was walking, someone pulled me to the side. It was a woman. I looked at her, surprised and angry. What? Rose? Can't you see you were walking in the middle of the road? You could have been hit by a car. Rose was my friend from childhood. We met after so many years, and that too in such a situation. She almost shouted at me and I snapped back to my senses. I had been walking on the road without paying attention, lost in my thoughts. I felt a chill thinking about what would have happened if that car had hit me. Are you even listening to me? What's wrong with you? Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Thank you, Rose. Huh. It is okay. Do you need any help? Where are you going? I can drop you off. Where was I going? I did not have any close friends in the city. My parents lived far away and I did not want to trouble them. Robert was my everything. I felt ashamed of myself. Actually, I don't know where to go. What? Never mind. Can we at least go to the restaurant? I'm super hungry. Are you? And then I realized, yes, I was hungry, but I had left home without any money. What was I going to do for food and living? I had no work experience, so who would hire me? I'm sorry, I do not have any money right now. Oh, that's fine. Just come with me. Don't worry, we're friends. Okay. I went to a restaurant with her. It was beautiful and looked expensive. The chandelier hanging in the center caught my attention. Hey, what brings you here? I thought you were in Australia. Yes, I was studying there. After completing my degree, I came here for work. Rose, you don't have to go through all this trouble for me. It looks expensive. Hey, it's okay. I'll take care of the lunch. We got interrupted as the food arrived. It looked delicious. Soup, Caesar salad, and barbecue chicken burger. I was hungry, so I started eating without waiting for Rose. Did you like the food? Yes, it's nice, but the burger buns could have been better. Really? Our buns and pizzas are very famous. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that. The food is good, but there's room for improvement. The buns could be crispier and better baked. The soup could have more seasoning. You are talking like a chef. Oh, no. I'm just a stay-at-home wife. Well, I used to be. Anyway, I bake a lot and even started a baking business, but it's not going anywhere. Oh, you have so much knowledge. Why don't you try working at restaurants? I'm not qualified for that. Not every restaurant requires qualifications. You seem experienced and that's enough. I can tell something really bad has happened to you. Would you like to share it with me? Rose looked concerned and helpful, and I wanted to share everything with someone. I explained everything to her. That is terrible. What kind of man is he? We can sue him legally. I'll help you. Hey, no, I don't want to do anything, and I don't need anything from him. What is the use if there's no love left? Let him live peacefully. You are so kind-hearted, Ava. He did wrong to you, and he will pay for his actions. But until then, focus on yourself. You have so much potential. Try going out and getting a job. Even I need to become independent. Do you have any references here? I can start from here. Oh, sure. I'll book you an appointment with the owner. That would be so helpful. Are you in the management department? Yes, you can say that. Rose paid the bill and we left the restaurant. I had found new hope. So where will you go now? Actually, I don't know. I'll call some of my friends and find a temporary place. I am your friend, right? Why don't you come with me? Are you sure? You've already done so much for me. No problem, dear. Stay with me until you find a permanent place. Thank you so much. I moved in with Rose. Her home was beautiful with a big library full of business books. I lay on the bed thinking about Robert and Mia's wedding party. I was deeply in love with Robert and it wasn't easy to move on, but I decided to trust myself and give it a try. The next morning, I got ready using Rose's office clothes. I looked at myself in the mirror and kept staring. I looked smart. I wasn't used to this look. I usually dressed simply, always wearing an apron and smelling like tomatoes. Maybe that's why Robert left me. My thoughts were interrupted by Rose. You look smart. Thank you. Are you ready for the interview? Yes, hoping for the best. Good. I'll drive you to the restaurant. We arrived at the restaurant. Rose told me where to go and she went to a meeting. I went to the waiting area feeling so nervous. After all, it was my first job interview. I gathered my courage and stepped inside. When I opened the door, I was surprised. It was Rose. Rose? Sorry, can I come in? Hey, Ava, you don't have to be formal. Come in. Hey, Ava, you don't have to be formal. Come and sit. I sat in front of her. She was the owner of the restaurant. The previous day, I criticized her restaurant's food. I felt ashamed. Sorry, Ava, this is kind of a surprise for you, but yesterday I did not want to overwhelm you. Oh, I understand. Shall we start the interview then? I judged you enough yesterday, and you are the best candidate for me. But the head chef wants you to work in the kitchen today, and we will let you know tomorrow about the job role and the rest of the formalities. Thank you so much, Rose. No need, Ava. Do your best in the kitchen. I went into the kitchen. It was an amazing place. I had only seen such a place in movies or cooking shows. I never thought I would get a chance to visit such a place. I decided to give it my all. The head chef told me to make the same soup we had eaten the previous day and to bake the burger buns. I knew what was missing, so I did my best. The head chef was surprised and praised me a lot. Everyone was happily tasting my dishes, and they could not believe I was just a stay-at-home wife before. But more than that, I was surprised at my newfound potential. There was a long way to go. Eventually, I got the job, and the salary was surprisingly high. I had never had this much money before. I was happy working there. I put all my effort into the job because it was all I had left in my life. Over time, I got promoted and became the head chef. I bought my own house in the city where no one could kick me out. Our breads and soups became famous and people came just to taste them. I even published a recipe book. But deep down in my heart, my dream of having my bakery was still unfulfilled. I decided to talk to Rose about it. Hey, I want to talk to you about something. Yes, Ava, please go ahead. Actually, do you remember when I told you about my dream of opening a bakery? Yes, I do. Well, I've been thinking about opening my bakery, but to do that, I would have to quit my job at your restaurant. Oh, that's so sad. But I don't want to hold you back, Ava. I know you have the potential to establish your brand, and I'm with you. Thank you so much, Rose. You are the best person I have ever met. I will train the restaurant's chef well, so you don't have to worry about the food after I leave. I know, Ava. You will do your best for our restaurant. And so I left the restaurant. I had enough savings to open a bakery in the city center, and that's exactly what I did. I gathered the best team possible and we opened my bakery called Ava's. I expected it to do well, but our small bakery exceeded my expectations. People were so happy with the quality of our bread and cakes. Soon, we expanded the small bakery into a restaurant and it became the city's new favorite spot. It was everywhere, even featured in food magazines. I had achieved my dream. Ava's had become a brand. I remembered the chandelier in Rose's restaurant and decided to create a special interior for our newly opened restaurant. I started getting quotations from many big companies interested in doing our interior design. And one day, something unexpected happened. I received a call. Hello, I'm Robert from RD Interiors. I'm calling about the contract for your restaurant's design. Can I get an appointment with the owner? I'd like to present in front of her. Yes, it was Robert, my ex-husband, who betrayed me and kicked me out of the house. I had come so far from my past. Why was he appearing in my life again? Anger, sadness, surprise, so many mixed emotions filled my mind. Hello? Robert, is this you? Oh, Ava, I couldn't recognize your voice. It's changed a lot. What do you want from me now? I'm sorry, Ava. I shouldn't have done that to you. I couldn't understand your importance and potential back then. Please forgive me. You broke my trust, and it's beyond forgiveness. Please leave me alone. I'm not interested in talking to you. Ava, please, at least listen to... Don't you understand? I said I am not interested in talking to you anymore. Ava, please listen to me for 5 minutes, then hang up. Fine, talk. But don't expect anything in return. Ava, my previous company fired me because I wasn't attentive at work. I started working at RD Interiors a few months ago, but even this company isn't satisfied with me. My responsibilities have increased and I can't handle it all. Please, this contract is my last hope. If I don't get it, my company will fire me. Oh, sorry, Robert. I'm not interested in working with your company. Ava, please. And I hung up the call, remembering how he had hung up on me while I was pleading for an explanation. Rose came to meet me on Saturday. She had become like family to me, and I desperately wanted to tell her everything. Hey, Star. Hey, what happened? You don't look fine as usual. Is everything okay? Well, you know, the new restaurant and its interior. What about it? Are you struggling to choose the best one? Actually, I got a call and it was from Robert. He was asking for a contract for the interior of this new restaurant. Robert? Who? Your ex-husband? Yes. Ava, I told you he would pay for his actions. This is a good opportunity for revenge. Yes, I know. I want him to realize he made a mistake. I told him we don't want to work with his company. They might have fired him for not getting the contract. Ah, well, it was not an official way of securing a contract anyway. I wonder what happened to him. He was very sincere at work, and now he got fired from 2 companies? Strange. Yes, he's paying for his actions. But don't think too much about it. Let us go out. Yeah, sure. I received a text from Robert. I'm sorry, Ava. I've done you wrong. I have nothing left. Please come back to me. We'll work on our relationship again. I'm going to divorce Mia. I've realized your love and effort. While eating ice cream with Rose, I read that message without feeling anything. One thing was certain. I would never go back to him. The person who wasn't there for me during my difficult times was now demanding my attention during my happy moments. Honestly, that was my achievement, but I no longer had any love left for Robert, so I texted him back saying, I have moved on, Robert. Wishing you all the best for your future. And continued enjoying my ice cream. Hello guys, my name's Ivy. My husband Ace has been looking at some stories here and encouraged me to post my own story. Yes, my husband encouraged me to tell you guys about my nightmare mother-in-law, Miriam. To be honest, Ace had always warned me against his mother, but I was a naive girl who didn't know any better. I gave in to my mother-in-law's insane demands on me to realize that she was treating me as an ATM. My husband and his sister Lisa always disliked the fact that I was spending a lot of money on my mother-in-law. They said, "Ivy, I don't know how you don't see it. My mom is being very unreasonable with her demands. Just because you're rich doesn't mean you have to spoil her. Ivy, she is our mom. We know exactly what she's like. You need to stop giving in to her demands. She will only escalate her spendthrift ways and never be grateful for your help." But she's family, guys. How can I not help my own family? I know she can be a little unreasonable, but I can't afford her demands, so I give in to those. You know, I don't have my parents anymore, so I see her as a mother figure. We know that, Ivy, but she doesn't see you as a daughter. She sees you as a cash cow. Hell, she sees all of us as her cash cows. You know that all three of us give her money. She literally spends it all and still asks for more. My mom is living a life that's way above her means. She shows no appreciation for it. Ivy, you need to rein in your finances and curb her spending. Don't make her more entitled. Ace and Lisa have always been critical of their mom's spending. Yes, Miriam did have a very posh lifestyle that she can't afford. However, with all three of us giving her money, she had plenty to spend on her whim. I didn't have the heart to turn her down when she asked for more. I did see her as my own parent. I loved her so much that I had actually planned to buy her a house. Miriam had recently come across a house that completely fit her style and taste, and she had been going insane over it, so I told Ace. "Ace, I'm thinking about getting Miriam the house she likes. We have some money left over after our house purchase, plus my uncle's inheritance is also still in my account. We can use that and buy her a house." "Seriously? You would do that for Mom? But why?" "I know she doesn't own a house, but isn't buying a house too much?" "Don't worry about it. It makes me sad that your mom doesn't have her own house when we have one for ourselves. She has been complaining about it. I was thinking about buying her the house. We could surprise her on her birthday." "Well, I think you should think it through a little. If you are sure, I will contribute some money as well. I'll talk to Lisa and find out if she wants to help." With that, we were all set to buy Miriam the house. I was paying around 90% of the money because I earned way more than Ace and Lisa. Plus, I had a lot of inheritance from my late parents and uncle. I had no problem in buying Miriam a house and making her happy. However, I had no idea that the woman who I loved like my mother was just using me for money. I found that out soon enough. It was a week before her birthday when Miriam came to visit us. Initially, we thought that the visit was to invite us to her birthday party. She did talk about the invitation, but moved on to a very different topic. She was, again, showing us pictures of her dream house and telling us how much she loved it. But the conversation quickly went south when she said something really entitled. It went, "So, what do you think of the house? This is my dream house, you know. Please, tell me it is the best you have ever seen. I plan to buy it immediately, like in a week." "It is a beautiful house, Miriam. I must say, it does look very posh and the lawn is a showstopper." "What do you think, Ace? Won't it be perfect for me? It has 4 bedrooms, so you and Lisa can come and stay anytime you like." "Yeah, The house is beautiful, Mom, but it looks super expensive. How are you going to afford it? You seem dead set on owning this place. Well, why would money be a problem? Ivy's going to help me buy the house, of course. Why worry when I have a rich daughter-in-law? The way Miriam spoke about it was a little insulting to me. I didn't like the fact that she naturally assumed I would help her pay for it. Now, look, I did want to buy her a house, but the way she dumped the financial responsibility on me kind of put me off. Ace was also looking uncomfortable with what Miriam said. However, I brushed the weird feeling aside. I didn't want to spoil the surprise, so I said, "What are you talking about, Miriam? I'm not sure I understand." "Why do you think I came to talk to you? I don't need your opinions on the house. I already like it anyway. I simply wanted you to help me put the down payment on the house." "So you just automatically assumed that Ivy would pay the down payment for you? What if she says no?" "Ivy has plenty of money. She can spare some for her mother-in-law. Why on earth will she say no to her poor old mother-in-law? Am I right, Ivy?" "I don't know, Miriam. We just bought our house a few months ago. Right now, I'm not very comfortable spending so much money. I need to save a little for our future." "What? So now that I'm asking for help, you are suddenly thinking about savings? Don't be so selfish, Ivy. I know the down payment amount is peanuts to you. Stop this nonsense and hurry up about the money. The house has many buyers. I don't want it to be sold to someone else." "Mom, that is a very entitled thing to say. You can't just demand Ivy to pay the down payment. And what about the rest of the money? Do you have funds to pay the mortgage?" "The mortgage won't be much. I'm sure Ivy won't mind spending a few more dollars every month. It's not a big deal. Maybe you and Lisa can chip in from time to time." Ace was absolutely stunned by Miriam's demands. And so was I. It was one thing to ask for help, but she was openly demanding we give her money. For some reason, it started to bother me a little, but me and Ace made it very clear to her that we couldn't help. Miriam did look very angry, but held her tongue for the rest of the evening. After she left, Ace was the one to be concerned about our plan. He said, "Look, Ivy, what my mom demanded today was outrageous. I think you should reconsider buying her the house. I don't want her to take advantage of you. She does that enough." "It's okay, Ace. It's my fault that I readily say yes to her demands. She must have gotten carried away with her dream house. I'm sure she will regret it later. Let's not punish her for one mistake." "You are seriously something else, Ivy. I hope my mom treats you better in the future. She has no idea how good her daughter-in-law is." Even though Miriam was being a little unreasonable, I didn't think it was worth being punished. I mean, people do unreasonable things when they really want something. Miriam didn't react as much when I told her no, so I thought we were good. Oh boy, I was wrong. The fiasco happened on Miriam's birthday the next week. She had arranged for a grand party that suited her expensive taste. From the looks of it, Miriam had spent a lot of money on the arrangement. I could tell Ace was already dreading sending our next month's allowance to Miriam. However, I was way too excited to finally tell Miriam about the house. But nothing went according to plan. When we sat down for dinner, Miriam started to make some very mean jokes at my expense. She said, "Ace, look around and see how many beautiful women are at the party. You know, you absolutely broke my heart when you married Ivy. I mean, look at her, guys. I don't know what tricks she used to trap you, probably her wealth." "Mom, what the hell are you saying?" "Shush now. Ace, we all know the truth. But people here need to know too. Guys, I don't know why Ace even married Ivy. She's rude, selfish, and a total ugly duckling. Oh, wait, the ugly duckling at least transformed in the end. This one can't even do that. I was absolutely stunned by what Miriam just said. Yes, I am not a beautiful girl. I have always known that. I have been bullied countless times by my friends and classmates. Hell, my own family called me ugly and made me cry often. I was in therapy for years to cope with that trauma. Those words from Miriam absolutely crushed me from inside. I teared up and started to cry silently. Ace looked dumbstruck, and so did everyone else. When I didn't say anything, Lisa was the first one to speak up. She said, "What the hell is wrong with you? Why would you say that? Are you freaking insane?" What? I simply told the truth. When Ace married Ivy, I thought that at least he was marrying a rich woman. I made no comments on her ugly face or body. Now I see that she is not even generous with her money. What is she even good for then? Mom, how dare you insult Ivy in her own house? I am ashamed of you. I cannot believe you can be so insensitive. Apologize to Ivy right now. Why the hell would I do that? She needs to apologize to me for being a stuck-up witch. I am sure she is aware that I am right, that she is good for nothing. That's enough, Mom. No need to apologize to Ivy. You don't need to apologize to anyone. Everyone was even more stunned to hear that from Ace. But I could tell that Ace was extremely angry. I could see it in his eyes, even through my teary vision. He banged on the table to make Miriam stop speaking. My stupid mother-in-law took it as a sign that he supported her. She said, "See, my son is the reasonable one. He knows that I have done nothing wrong. Ivy is an ugly woman, and he knows it too." I stopped you from apologizing, not because I support your outrageous words. I stopped you because at this point, an apology won't cut it. Mom, you are one vile woman. I'm ashamed to have you as my mom. Ace, what are you saying? How can you speak to me like that? This is exactly how I'm going to speak to you from now on. Never in my life I had thought that my own mother could be so greedy and spiteful. You insulted my wife and reduced her to nothing because she said she won't help you get a house. Mom, you asked Ivy to buy you a house. How can you be so entitled? You literally called her. I have the right to be upset. She's so rich but can't even help out her own family. I cannot see why you are so mad at me. Ace, you should be angry at Ivy for being so selfish. Ivy is selfish? Mom, you have absolutely no idea. You never needed to make an entitled demand from her, Mom. She was going to buy a house for you. Since we already own a place, she decided to use some of her inheritance money to get you a house. What? Are you serious? Ivy's going to buy me a house? You should have said that sooner, son. God, I need to be prepared to move into a house fast. I have so much packing to do. Why did you two keep this news from me? By the time Miriam changed her tune, I was freaking done with her. With what little composure I had, I decided on the spot there was no way I was going to give Miriam a house. She doesn't deserve one. Hell, she doesn't deserve anything. So I said, "We didn't tell you anything because it was meant to be a surprise. We had already talked to the real estate guy and planned everything. I had no idea you would come and ask me to pay your down payment." But when I did ask for the down payment, you should have given me the money, or you should have told me the truth. It was so silly of you to hide such a news. So when are you handing over the keys to my house? I can't wait to move in. You must be out of your mind if you think I will still give you the house. I was supposed to reveal the surprise today, but you absolutely ruined everything. You called me names and told me hurtful things. I will not give you the house. Wait, what? Why not? Look, I said all those things because I was upset. It was like a little joke. It was harmless. You're overreacting now. Oh, so now these words were jokes? What about the time you told Lisa that you were simply stating facts? You won't have to answer that, Miriam. I already know what you think about me. Well, guess what? This ugly duckling will not give you a house. You're being ridiculous over a joke. Ace, please manage your wife. She's embarrassing. I deserve to live in a good house too. She is purposefully tormenting me because I made a joke. Are you kidding me? You are the one who embarrassed yourself and everyone here. Mom, ask around and see how many people agree with your stupid logic. You never did and still don't deserve a house. In fact, don't worry. I won't support you financially anymore, and I won't let my wife spend a single penny on you. You know what, Mom? After today, you won't get a penny from me either. It was disgusting what you did to Ivy. I simply can't and won't support a horrid woman like you. You don't even have any shame. Miriam was absolutely taken aback by what we said. She had never expected to be treated like this. Hell, I didn't expect that I would get so much support from Ace and Lisa. Miriam tried to talk to them and everyone at the party. She tried to convince them of how much she deserved the house. Well, thankfully, no one took her side. In fact, a few women criticized her for being so cruel to her daughter-in-law. I was glad that people could finally see what a horrible person she was. Lisa and Ace continued to defend me and berate Miriam. Miriam still thought that she was entitled to the house that I was going to gift her. She had no remorse for insulting me and targeting that one aspect of my life that I was insecure about. Ace knew what kind of impact her words would have on me, so he was extremely angry and didn't hold back his words. He said, "Mom, for years, I have seen you take advantage of my wife. I try to remind my wife that she's doing too much for you, but she loved you like her own mom. She said that she's happy to help you out. Look how you paid her back for her kindness." Ace, why are you talking to me like that? I told you it was a joke. If it hurt her so badly, I can apologize. I told you, Mom. Your apology won't solve anything right now. Me and Ivy are done with you. Even if she changes her mind and tries to give you a house, I will stop her. How can you say that, Ace? I'm your mom. Don't you want to see me in a nice house? Trust me, Mom. None of us would like to see you in a nice house now. You don't deserve it. I would say Ivy would be better off gifting a stranger the house. At least they'll appreciate it instead of acting entitled. I can't believe I have such ungrateful kids like you. I raised you for over 2 decades, and this is how you treat me? You two are pathetic in choosing an outsider like Ivy over me. You are the ungrateful one, Mom. We have financially supported you for years. Instead of being grateful, you demanded more and more from us. I have said today, and I will say this again, me and Ivy are never going to give you a penny anymore. And neither will I or my family. Good luck trying to keep a roof over your head with your entitlement. If you think we are ungrateful children, we will show you exactly how ungrateful we can be. After that, Ace just held my hand and took me away from the house. Lisa also left with her husband and child. Miriam was busy crying over how her children treated her. Meanwhile, her guests had some curt words for her and started to leave the party as well. Me, Ace, Lisa, and her family later went to a nearby restaurant to end the day on a good note. I won't lie and say I was okay. I was crying as soon as Miriam was out of sight. The people around me did their best to cheer me up and make me feel better. From the very next day, Miriam started to blow up our phones with nasty texts. She kept blaming us for ruining her birthday party and her reputation. The text was slowly getting extremely deranged and threatening. Me, Ace, and Lisa simply blocked her number after telling her not to contact us again. I guess Miriam still didn't realize the gravity of her situation. When the month ended, she freaked out. As promised, neither Ace nor Lisa sent her any money. They did financially cut her off and left her to her own devices. Miriam showed up at our door begging and crying for money. Apparently, every week she would spend all the money we gave her on having a luxurious lifestyle. She didn't save a penny. In fact, last month she took a loan from a friend to host her grand birthday party. Now she was crying because she had no money and the friend was threatening legal action. Trust me, guys, no one wanted to help her out. Both Ace and Lisa shut the door in her face and told her that she needed to face the consequences of her own actions. We have decided to continue no contact. An aunt on Miriam's side texted us that Miriam moved into her house. She would drill some sense into Miriam and make her become a responsible woman. We told her that we no longer care. In the end, I decided that I would buy the house after all. Will I give it to Miriam? Absolutely not. I would buy the house so that she loses the opportunity to buy her dream house. Instead, I plan to give the house to Lisa. She and her husband are expecting their second child and need a bigger home. I offered them the house and they were adamant to pay at least half with their own money. I told them that it was a gift for being amazing in-laws.